foremost, man, I want to thank y'all for doing this. Because this is something that I'm passionate about. For those who will be looking at this video when we put it up, and looking about too many heroes. We've been established since 2019. Our mission is to mentor, educate, and transform. We have a mission that is focused on basically highlighting individuals who have barriers or disabilities and they have overcome them. We have multiple interviews that we've done over the course of years on YouTube, and they've been highlighting from individuals who are um, Olympians all the way to people who are just regular moms and dads. But they all have a story to tell. So that's that's one thing that we've done. Also, for those who are will be looking at this and who will join in, if you feel like you want to make an impact on the movement to raise awareness for individuals with rare diseases, please feel free to contact us on our website, www.communityheroes.net. Also, you can also donate or find some other organization you can either volunteer or donate to. So that's always good. So a little bit about myself. I'm the CEO of Human Heroes, Charles Sparky. My story can be found on the website. So I'm not going to talk too much about myself. That's can be found on there. Today we have some extraordinary individuals who will help in raising awareness for this special day, Red Disease Day. I'm pretty much done with my talking. I don't want to talk too much, so I'm going to hand it over and let Miss Brianna Landis introduce herself and kind of talk a little bit about her rare disease.
Hi, I'm Brianna Landis, and I have multiple sclerosis. Now, multiple sclerosis itself isn't a rare disease, but I was diagnosed when I was 4 years old, which is rare because pediatric MS is not common. So basically, MS is a disease where the body attacks itself and your nerves are destroyed and you get headaches, you can be in a wheelchair, lots of different things can happen through that. And so basically, I've had MS my whole life. And so I've also spent my whole life trying to get a cure for MS. So every year we've had an MS walk team. We've walked in the MS walk, or I've volunteered at our local walk. When I was 8 years old, I had the amazing opportunity to be on the Montel Williams show and bring awareness to MS that way and show that kids really do get MS. And I also got to help open pediatric MS clinics all around the US and show that, kids really do get MS and how important it is. And then when I got to college, I started doing MS research and finding all the different ways that MS can be diagnosed. So, what really causes MS. And now I am a scientist for a company called Thermo Fisher. So I work on different COVID vaccines and cancer drugs and different things like that. In my free time, I go to Congress and also our local government and talk to them about MS and different ways they can help us or help people with MS through different legislation that we pass, whether it be how high pharmaceutical costs are, or raising money for research, or even this year we're advocating for a bill about the FFA and plane accessibility, and not getting your wheelchair ruined on a plane, things like that. So even though I am only 25, I've been working really hard to get us that much closer to a cure for MS.
Okay, that is awesome. Brianna, let me ask you some questions because Right now we don't have too many people chiming in, but just some of the things I think individuals that may not know about MS, if you kind of just maybe explain a little bit about just your daily experiences, maybe as a teenager, even up to now as a grown up and just your professional career, how you had to adjust with your condition through the years.
So I have uh, one of the four types of MS, and honestly, it's the most one to get. So I have relapsing remitting MS, which means my MS comes and goes as it pleases. So normally, I don't really know that I have MS, but on those days when I do, I can have numbness in my legs and my arms. I get really bad headaches. And when I have a really bad relapse and need to be hospitalized, my eyes get blurry and I used to go blind in one of my eyes. And then also I get this feeling of bugs crawling up and down my back. And so I take a medicine for that as well. But on a pretty normal day, my best days are the days that I forget and
Yeah, thank you for clarifying. Kind of touch a little bit on that. For those, like I said, that may not know the daily experience of someone that lives with MS. I'm going to now give uh, Ms. Wayne the opportunity to speak. Uh, and I just want to make, can you guys see me pretty? I'm trying to do stuff at the same time. So I just want to make sure you guys can see me. I didn't know if I was coming in blurry. I was going off Miss Marissa. Thank you. So I didn't know if I was coming in blurry.
You were a little blurry. It's better now.
Okay, yeah. That virtual background, I thought I was going to try it. It was looking crazy. So I took the virtual background off. Yeah. Okay. Probably need a little lighter too, but oh well. Without further ado, I'm gonna call it Miss Miss Wayne. Miss Wayne. I hope I pronounced your last name correctly.
Yeah, my first name is Kayla. I'm sure you're like, I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
But yeah, my name is Kayla McWayne. I live in Wyoming. I am actually a caregiver to my two children. I mean, you become a caregiver when you become a mom. But my second child was born in 2020 with PKU. PKU is short for phenylketonuria, and is diagnosed on newborn screening. Um, a little fun fact kind of about PKU is the doctor that discovered PKU and created the PKU test, Dr. Guthrie, he pioneered sort of the PKU test, which was transformed into newborn screening and screens for many other disorders now, depending on what state you're in. So just a really cool spot about newborn screening. However, so my son, like I said, was born in 2020 with PKU. PKU, essentially, his body is unable to break down one amino acid found in protein called phenylalanine. Obviously, though, protein is essential to life. So for life, he has to drink a metabolic formula that carries the 19 amino acids his body does break down, so that he can grow and develop and thrive. And of course, then that means he also eats a low protein diet. The goal is to avoid protein at any cost, which is just crazy when you think about it. So he is now 3 years old. We also have to follow like I said, low protein diet, which includes the use of low protein medical foods. I would say, depending on who you're speaking to, 10 to 20% of the grocery store is all we have access to. And a large bit of that 10 to 20% is just fruits and vegetables. So we rely also to maintain the diet, we rely on low protein medical foods from certain manufacturers that make these foods. However, they can be, I mean, I didn't do the complete math, but 6 times more expensive than that bag of pasta that we can buy. So the same 99-cent bag of pasta that we can buy costs our family $14 a bag just for low protein pasta. He can't eat the same baked goods. He cannot have the same flour. So everything is homemade. He can't go to a birthday party and just indulge in the same desserts and pizzas and all of those things. But the problem associated with not only the cost of those low protein medical foods is we don't get insurance coverage for those. So though they're mandatory and the only proven effective treatment for all patients living with PKU, insurance doesn't have to provide coverage. And in fact, they can take the metabolic formula coverage away from us at any point as well, which would cost a single family a lot of money in a lifetime. So knowing sort of that barrier for the community, I started advocating to senators and representatives in Congress for the passage of the Medical Nutrition Equity Act. This bill would basically hold all private and public insurance companies accountable for providing some sort of coverage for both the metabolic formulas and low protein medical foods. This bill has been in progress for 13 years. So it's quite defeating when you hear that bit of it. But I will say in 2022, when we ended the last Congress, we had more co-sponsors than we ever have before. And the momentum behind it is really growing with sort of the nutritional things that, they're sort of looking at. So hopefully it's not far down the pipeline for us, but that, access to treatment for our community is the biggest barrier for sure.
Okay. Oh man. Yeah. And it sounds like progress is being made, like I said, slowly but surely.
Yeah, things like this take time, and that time sucks.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to transition over to you, Miss Marissa, and let you kind of do your part. Then I'll kind of wrap it up here.
Great. Well, good evening, and thank you, Tyrone, for the invitation to join. Rare Disease Day is an important day for the Muscular Dystrophy Association, as all the diseases that we cover are considered rare. You might see muscular dystrophy and think that MDA just covers muscular dystrophy, but we actually cover well over like 100 different genetic diseases, and those include things like spinal muscular atrophy, ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease, as folks know. So neuromuscular diseases really affect individuals at all ages, and they can range in severity, from very severe, affecting mobility, affecting breathing, cardiac complications, and then some that impair just some mobility. Some of the families we work with, they might use braces or need other assistance. So it ranges the whole gamut. But my role at MDA, I'm the director of our community education programs, and I've worked in the rare disease space for the last 10 years. And for MDA, our mission is to empower the people we serve to live longer and more independent lives. We partner with our community of families, our network of care center clinicians and advocates, scientific researchers, and industry. And our goal is, as convener, is to bring everyone together to advance care, to accelerate research, and to advocate for the things that our families need throughout their journey. So MDA has been in existence. Sorry, I was looking for the right word there. But MDA has been in existence for over 70 years. And to your point, Kayla, about progress being slow, it definitely has. It's never as fast as we would like it to be. But in those 70 years, we are now starting to see a lot of the fruits of our labors, in terms of investing in research into rare diseases. And we find that as MDA approaches research, we look at that advances in one disease can often relate to advances in another disease. And we've started to see that. We actually just got word today that another treatment was approved for one of the diseases in our purview, for Friedreich's ataxia. It's the first drug that's ever been approved to treat the disease. And that makes, I believe, I think that we now have 20 drugs that help to treat the neuromuscular diseases in our purview. So that's very exciting. It took us a long time to get there. MDA really started in 1950 with a family of concerned individuals who who had a family member with muscular dystrophy. They put together the first grant to a researcher for $1,500, and now 70 years later, and more than $2 billion that we've raised, we've been able to build a lot more into research and make incredible strides into understanding diseases and finding treatments and hopefully one day cures. MDA also is pretty active in the advocacy space. We do a lot of advocating, legislative advocacy for accelerating drug development and with the FDA and NIH to get more funding for rare disease research. We also do advocacy in the accessible travel space for many people with a disability who have to use a wheelchair. Flying on an airplane can be a nightmare. And so we do a lot of advocacy in that space with the Air Carrier Access Act, trying to get better accommodations for individuals with disabilities who are flying on aircraft. We also do advocacy in other spaces as well, like better employment for people with disabilities. So, I could go into lots of detail about MDA. Really, our 4 pillars are care through our care center network with the physicians that we work with across the country. We have over 150 care centers that we partner with to provide multidisciplinary care to people living with these diseases. A second pillar is Catalyst, where we invest a lot of our research into research to have new drugs coming down the pipeline, new treatments. We actually run our own disease registry, the first of its kind, to aggregate data from clinicians, from patients to hopefully drive research forward. And then Champion, I spoke about already with our advocacy. And then finally, community, things like we have community education programs that we run. We have mentoring programs for young adults living with neuromuscular disease. We have a summer camp program. So we know that bringing the community together and helping people with rare disease meet others in that same community can really build support and strengthen the sense of community and just that social emotional support that they need. So we always encourage people to get involved with MDA. If they're interested, there's lots of volunteer opportunities. There's also opportunities to help with fundraisers. But there's also opportunities to seek support. So if you are a person living with a neuromuscular disease or know somebody who is, we encourage them to join our community and be able to access some of the information, resources, supports that we provide. So with that, I will just say on this Rare Disease Day that it's so important to raise awareness. And so we appreciate the opportunity to do that today. And we stand together with that rare disease community to hopefully make advances and make sure that this community has the things that they need. Thank you, Tyrone. I'll pass it back to you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, Marissa, for this sharing the information. And I'm just going to make a couple of comments and then we'll go ahead and kind of wrap it up.
I can't hear you, Tyrone. I'm sorry.
Okay. Let me see. Can you guys hear me now? Maybe I need to be a little closer. Uh, and maybe the way I have my stuff set up here. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. I think this is the way I have my phone for some reason. Let me see that quick to when.
Are you guys able to hear?
Yeah, I can hear him perfectly.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? I don't know if you. What about Marissa?
It might just be Marissa's.
Hello. Can you hear me now, Marissa?
Now I can hear you. Sorry about that.
Yeah. There's someone has a question, okay? And the Q&A popped up. Let me please read. Um, okay. And someone has a question. Yeah. So let's see, Deborah, you gotta let's see how do I let you? Um, I don't know this. How do I let her ask her question? Uh, Well, I did ask question. You would like to answer the question? Just put that. This is said she heard me. I think that's what she was trying to say. Maybe that was it. But yeah. So I was just gonna say, first of all, thank you so much again. Like I was saying, for just all of you guys being out here. Marisa, you said a couple of things I wanted to address. Now, if I heard you correctly, did you say muscular dystrophy has found like some medicine to help out with ataxia? I think you said.
Yeah, I mean, not MDA personally. We help invest in a lot of the research that leads to these types of drug developments. And so just today, Reata Pharmaceuticals, they announced that one of their drugs has been approved for Friedreich's ataxia. So that's very exciting. And then there's other drugs, treatments for some of the other diseases in our purview as well that MDA has helped either directly or indirectly through research investments.
Okay, yeah, and that reason I just asked that because last year, we were honored to have MDA help us last year, and one of our guests had ataxia. So I was just, and Miss Deborah, who's attending right now as a guest, she was one of our panelists last year. Uh, and that so that was I was just curious. Another thing that yeah, I mentioned that this is good at NBA. I've always had good support from you guys. As in, this is my third year doing a campaign to raise awareness, and MDA has always answered the call. So I'm very thankful for that. That they have done that. Um, so I'm
We're
thankful.
happy to do it, Tyrone. So
Yeah. And I know for those who are looking also, I want to say you may have been expecting another guest speaker, and unfortunately things came up. He wasn't able to make it, but luckily, thank God, Miss Kayla was able to answer the call when I asked her would she mind uh, presenting. And I had never heard of PKU, so I've learned something tonight um, with her just talking and sharing what she knows.
Thank you for letting me be here, Tyrone.
Yeah. Um, and so I wanted to say that. Let me ask Deborah. Before, did you have any questions, Deborah? Did you want to say anything? I see you're in attendance. I'm gonna allow you to talk if you. If I should.
Yes. I don't have any questions. I was just listening in and I was answering when you were saying, can we hear you? I was saying, yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. I kind of after a while, I kind of feel maybe she can hear me. Okay. Thank you for attending tonight. So last thing I'm gonna. Oh, I didn't know I put it in the room too. Um, so I'm gonna wrap this up. For those who aren't going to look at this, um, there will be a questionnaire that I'm going to put up on Facebook. I'm going to send it out to the emails to the people that were interested on Facebook. They may not pop in, but I'm going to reach out to them, and I just encourage all who listen to this, take the survey because my goal is to bring more awareness every year to make the webinar even better, and just continue with the push of raising awareness as part of the mission of Community Heroes. So, and also, you guys, if you want to, when I put this on YouTube, before I put it up, if you want to give me any personal information, put like, you know, names, social media tags, or anything like that. Just let me know so it'll be up there where people can follow you guys and just show support. Okay. So again, thank you guys so much for just being a part of this day and helping raising awareness, for Rare Disease Day.
Thank you, Tyrone.
You're welcome. All right, well, that is it. And I'll see you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.